There we go.
Right on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. This is the live segment where I have one of the hosts of 3 Minutes to Midnight. They're part of the Underground Resistance Network, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Lori Alexander, and I am the host of 3 Minutes to Midnight on our Underground Resistance Network. I'm part of a network, a new network that's coming up called the Sentinels of Truth. That's kind of a tentative name right now. We're in the process of getting all of that together. I am a co-host of Spitfire and the Sentinel. I'm also a guest co-host of Soror Strikes Back, and also a guest co-host of Maynard After Midnight. So kind of busy. I am busy.
You're busy all the time.
All the time.
So I guess, if you don't mind, to kind of let people know who you are, because obviously you're very intelligent. You're passionate about the research. You're putting hard putting information out there, and that's just my opinion. And I've just now started following you. Would you mind explaining to the people kind of, I guess, your perspective?
Well, I started this journey a long time ago, back in the 70s. I knew that there was something wrong with this world, so I started researching it. So, you know, my research and my knowledge kind of does go deep into the rabbit hole. About 2 years ago, I started on Facebook. I started a community known as Exposing Satanic World Government, and was surprised at how many people are still asleep in this world and what's going on around it. We've woken up a lot of people ever since, you know, 9/11's been happened, or 9/11 happened, Sandy Hook, Boston bombing, Waco, Oklahoma City bombing. You know, so all of those events are waking people up to the tyranny and to the extent that the elite of this world will go to control the narrative of what we see on mainstream media.
I'm going to take this time and definitely say, for anybody who has not checked out the Exposing Satanic World Government Facebook page, please do. It's daily content, daily memes, always thought-provoking stuff. I mean, they might not be putting up articles, but they're putting up memes. They're putting up everything you really need to see to kind of decode this matrix.
Right. I do write articles when I have the time. Unfortunately, my contribution to the page has just kind of been running it. I do have a couple of fantastic editors, Robbie D and Shannon. Also, I have RK. So I have, you know, I have solid individuals running the page right now for me. Like I said, I've been really busy lately, so I haven't really contributed to much of the content. But normally I am writing articles and everything for it, producing videos. But getting the new network up and running has kind of been a little bit time consuming.
Isn't that the case? It's always trying to find the time to do something.
Yeah, I didn't really. This is my second show today. I have another one tonight coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Spitfire and the Sentinel. So, yeah, I'll be doing 3 shows today. Sometimes I do as many 4 or 5.
God willing, hopefully I'm on there tonight. If everything goes according to plan, hopefully I can be on there tonight.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about some new breaks in the Sandy Hook. So.
Well, that's always exposing how these guys are coming out with false flags. I mean, I feel like if you look at how Sandy Hook was set up, you can see the formula of all these other false flags that they're trying to pull.
Right. That's what I said. You know, when you finally start getting that spark that something's not right, and you go back and you revisit some of the events that have taken place: 9/11, Sandy Hook, Boston bombing, Columbine, Oklahoma City bombing, Waco, Ruby Ridge, Paris, San Bernardino. You start seeing a pattern of things, not only of individuals that are there, but also events taking place, the narrative within mainstream media, how it's portrayed. And you start getting this new image of something's just not right. And then as you dig longer into it and further into it, you realize that we are being played for fools.
Well, it's like I sent you that picture of Carly Soto in Britain right after the Berlin attacks, right? With her nose all bloody. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did.
Then a few days later, they came out with that video of that kid that was supposedly some Israeli or some Syrian refugee child who was part of an explosion. But then they lined it up with another video where the kid's seen doing the same thing, and all these people are doing are really crisis acting. They're staging events.
Right, and we're seeing that with the young Mormon missionary named Mason, who supposedly got burned. Yeah, he's made a miraculous recovery. I just want to say that. My mother went through burn treatment years ago. It took her almost a year to recover, and he's done it in 30 days. So kudos to him, because if you can recover that quickly from that hard of or that bad of an injury, so.
Well, it's like, how do people not see the fact that this is a 19 or 20-year-old kid named Mason Wells who's been at both the Paris attacks, the Boston bombing, and now he's over here, the Brussels attacks, and he's perfectly fine at every single one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the crisis actor that we've seen, the girl with the crying girl with the phone, I guess we call her.
Yeah.
She's just got really bad luck and just happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, or she's specifically being placed in those situations. I'm going with the latter, so just so you know.
Let's see, and I'm going to use this as a point to kind of springboard into what I wanted to talk to you about. I feel like the whole idea of them keeping us in this the state of constant fear is to siphon off our energy. I mean, they're siphoning our attention away from things that really matter, like the TPP, Agenda 2030, sustainable development, all this other stuff that's going on, the technocracy that's rising. But at the same time, they're trying to stimulate this constant fear of ISIS or of losing your money or an economic collapse, this, that, and the third. I think what they're trying to do by keeping us in this perpetual state of fear is to do just that, is to siphon off our fearful energy.
You are absolutely correct. There is, it's a known fact that the elite are required by Kabbalist belief to telegraph their punches to us. They're required to tell us in advance what they're going to do. And this is a twofold. This is to relieve them of any karma that could possibly come from the event. And it also is to feed off of our fear. We give off, as human beings, we give off certain energies that they do feed off of. Fear being one of them. This is why the horror genre is so popular and it's pushed so much, is because we put off certain endorphins and certain energies that they do feed off of. This is no different. Like you were talking about, the technology of it. The internet sucks our energy. Certain things, smartphones sucks our energy.
Yep.
So they have different ways and different avenues of feeding off of us, and we play right into it.
Well, let me I kind of came to this revelation the other day, and I wanted to kind of put it to you. I wanted to talk to you about it. So we understand that apple is the symbolic interpretation of the apple that Eve bit into, the apple of Eden. I feel like whenever we buy these types of products, these smartphones, this technology, we're signing a contract with the devil, because we already understand that there are negative connotations that come with this technology. I mean, you're holding on to like a radioactive stick. That's got to have adverse effects to you. I mean, we're already hearing how when people look at these LED screens, it's burning their retinas. So whenever we get this kind of technology, we have to agree that, yes, we know it's going to harm us. And is that not how the deals with the devil work? we understand that we're going to be getting, you know, some kind of, I guess, negative effects to us, but we're gonna pay for it because we want what the devil has to offer. Does that make sense?
Makes absolute sense. And here's the thing is, you know, a lot of times we enter into that contract not even realizing until it's too late. Perfect example is Wi-Fi. It has now come to the attention that Wi-Fi is basically, essentially, frying our brains from the inside out.
Yep.
And the thing of it is we are aware of this now, but we are so addicted to the internet that we overlook the dangers and we willingly accept the consequences.
Speaking on that, the idea that we're swimming in Wi-Fi, like the ELF towers, which is one of your pictures I actually used, the Exposing Satanic World's Government. I used your guys' picture in one of my videos explaining how the voice of God technology is real, how they have Gwen towers and ELF towers that are meant to pacify us, you know? And then
it's also come to the attention that the Gwen towers, what they are is they're strategically placed in locations to where they do emit microwave signals. So when the time comes, they have the technology and the ability to treat us like we're the hamster in the microwave once they turn them on.
Well, I'm so glad we kind of got onto this kind of mind control topic, because I have all kinds of different things to talk to you about. You've heard of Harold Kautzweiler? I've seen him whenever it comes to programmable matter, Claytronics, and I guess the kind of mind control in that aspect. I'll see if I can look him up. What it basically talks about is how Morgellons disease is a manufactured disease that was created by the intelligence agency that turns a person into a transmitter, so to speak. There it is. I'm not going to say let's watch 2 hours.
Yeah, right.
But what he talks about is how Morgellons is what it basically does is turn our body into some kind of signal. And what
it's a receiver. It once they send out the signal, the smart dust and the nanobots that are in our system will be triggered, and they will do the job intended to do. Yeah.
Well, it's like I've been talking to another person, and I won't reveal her name, but she's been sending me all kinds of different documents of a doctor who conducts these kinds of experiments, these kind of psychological experiments, except he's operating perfectly fine. It's crazy. Here, I'll give me 1 second. I'll let this play. Can you hear it?
I cannot hear it, no.
No, cannot hear it. See? Still learning.
Are you using earphones?
I am.
Okay, you probably need to unhook those.
Can you hear it now?
Yes, you have to turn it up. Yeah, you're having the same problem I did. Once you plug in the earphones and you unplug it, the volume's real low. Yeah, I found that to be a glitch on Hangouts lately for some reason. I'm not sure why.
At least we're still learning. We're still learning.
We are. It is a learning process. Yes, we learn more every day with Hangouts. Like I said, I've been forced into using them, and I'm kicking and screaming every step of the way.
Separate time, but basically, he talks about how through Morgellons, it manufactures our DNA, or at least manipulates our DNA to where we do just that. We become these kind of transceivers. And as far as the person I was talking about and the doctor that they were referring to, it's a Dr. Robert Duncan, and this is just last year that he put out a report called the Executive Summary on Neuropsychological and Electronic Non-Torture. He put it out of April 2015, and literally he breaks down to at least 18 different types of what could be considered mind control, or at least electric non-torture, and or behavior modification. And the fact that we have all this stuff going on, it's like you said with the Gwyn Towers, that they're able to emit these signals that pacify us, that turn us into guinea pigs in the experiment.
Mm-hmm. And will ultimately turn us into, well, whatever they have decided. We're seeing the rise of the Black Awakening, the super soldiers.
Yes.
That I think has a lot to do with this. The voice of God technology is real. It's truthful. It was used in the first Gulf War. They perfected it over the years. You know, this is something that they have in place, and when the time comes and they switch on the switch, we are going to possibly see some things that have never been seen in the course of history of man.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I feel like what most people don't understand is that while we live in a perfectly fine, or what we would consider a perfectly normal reality, these people that are constructing and giving us these tools and doing all these types of things, they're occultists. They're Satanists.
They're.
And
we're not talking about your teenage kids in the woods,
No.
Gathering. We're talking true Babylonian Satanists.
Yes.
We're talking about the Babylonian old religions of Nimrod. We're talking about the real deal here. When they conjure up something, they conjure up the real deal. There have been reports that the elite, that Satan has actually shown up at some of their functions. They set a plate for him at every dinner, at every shindig that they have. If they're having a party, they will set a plate for him. There are times that he's shown up. Sometimes he shows up in a three-piece suit and he looks completely normal. Other times he shows up and he's got cloven hooves and horns. Like apparently they've reported that he does have a sense of humor.
So they're saying that the devil is actually here, that the devil is walking around.
Absolutely, he can transform into anything, any creature, any human being. So he's real. They have seen him, they have contact with him, and they worship him.
Well, I feel like, I'm not sure if you saw that in my last video that I sent you, but in my last video, I was pretty much just explaining how the secret societies are no longer secret. They're externalizing the hierarchy. That's why we're seeing like the rise of so much demonic activity. Them talking about establishing the temples of Baal or of Baal, the satanic statue in Detroit, the 10 Commandments being torn down in Oklahoma. And people think it's still your average grade, 8th grade Satanists out in the woods killing dogs and cats. It's like, no, these are people that are conducting sacrifices on a global scale. It's like whenever we let in talking about Sandy Hook, what do you think that really was? That was, as I said, something to try to siphon off our fear and negative energy. Even if someone had or had not been killed, had they been there, it's a sacrifice. Had they not been there, they're still trying to get our energy. It's a two-pronged attack.
Right. What they did is during Sandy Hook, what they did is they fed off of our emotions. It was children. What raises our emotions more than anything and clouds our judgment. There were so many red flags at Sandy Hook that we missed it because we were so emotional over the fact that children had just been quote unquote murdered.
Yep.
That we didn't see it. Looking back on it now, it amazes me that we could have even watched this and believed it, because it's just craziness. But you know, they do. You're right. They feed on our emotions, and that is why. Well, here's the thing: Sandy Hook, Waco, Oklahoma City bombing. Those children were murdered. Were supposed, you know. Here, okay. The elite, when they do their rituals, it's the real thing. When you are a Satanist for them, not, and I'm not talking about your, you know, college fraternity Satanists, you know, who sit there and they read Anton LaVey and, you know, candy coated kind of Satanists. I'm talking the real deal here. I'm talking, like I said, again, the Babylonian mystery religion Satanists. Okay. When they sacrifice something, they sacrifice the real deal. They're sacrificing real children. They're sacrificing real women. They're sacrificing real men. Each one of their holy days requires a certain sacrifice. So, you know, this is what we're seeing here. And
isn't Beltane coming up, or has Beltane passed?
May Day is coming up. Yeah, May Day is definitely coming up. Also on the 18th of April, I believe it is 18th, we're going to be starting our 13-day high satanic holy days. During this time, we saw Oklahoma City bombing, we saw Waco, we saw, you know, a number of events that happened.
We saw the Boston bombing as well. I forget all the. I have a specific slide with all of those dates on there.
Yes, that's coming up. So, you know, this is, and it's real. I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is actually the dates that we can verify. We can see that this has happened.
But what's even more crazy is I think the time spans from April 16th until April 20th, where people are able to see, or where there have actually been like massacres, where there's been where there's been mass killings. I mean, the Columbine was during then, the Boston bombing was during then, and a few others as well. It's just the fact that we literally have people orchestrating our lives, sacrificing society, and people refuse to see it because of the technology, because of how entrancing it is. You see, that they just get stuck. And I had a little bit of a revelation as far as this modern technology and how it applies to techno-sorcery. I mean, you see the Xbox, you see the PlayStation, you see all the technology now, and it all comes out as black, right? Black, smooth, chic, right? I'm thinking in the terms of symbols, metaphors, multidimensional understanding. Like that's where I'm thinking. If we have an entire box that is black, dedicated to absorbing all of our time, energy, emotion, dreams, hopes, and reasons, if we have a black box sitting in the middle of our entire family absorbing all of this energy, what does this do? It literally sucks our souls. It literally takes us away from reality because, well, we bought it, so we're willingly giving ourselves over to it.
Right. It's like with the TV vampires, you have to invite it into your home.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you know something, techno-sorcery is kind of a urban slang, but techno-sorcery, for those that don't really understand it, it's kind of the melding of our technology with sorcery. On the TV, do you remember years ago when you would go to the drive-in or to the movie theater? You know how it was revealed that they were using subliminal messages to get us to buy more popcorn and soda and candy?
Yep.
Okay, that's sorcery.
Yep.
That right there is techno-sorcery. It is giving us the flickering of the sigils, which would, you know, affect us on a subliminal level. Computer and TVs are a good doorway for these energies, because we willingly sit in front of it. We click on links all day, or we turn on stations, and we are inviting whatever it is being sent through as energy into our home and into our lives and into our brains.
And see, that's where people, I feel like that's where people get tripped up, because they don't understand that, okay, cool, that's fine. You might not believe in demons. You might not believe in magic. You might not even believe in heaven or hell. That's fine. There are people that do, that are working tirelessly every day to make it that much more of a reality, while also simultaneously working on keeping the spell of ignorance and bliss on you.
Right.
And so it's like whenever we were talking earlier about what did we lead in talking about? I had a brain fart. But the idea of energy being used, of the devil being walking around right now, of you saying that the elitists, or these Luciferians, saying that the devil is already present. And now, what do we have imitating that? We have the show Lucifer on Fox now imitating that the devil is simply walking around in California.
He's misunderstood. He's just a misunderstood entity who, I got to tell you, I did watch the first episode of that, and I had to stop about half hour into it because I was liking him.
Yep.
They made him so personable and so likable that I had to turn it, because I was aware of what was happening. And here's another thing is, still on the subject of the television. Do you remember the movie White Noise? I think it was.
I
Was it? I
can't
think
call it.
was it? Or it had to do with white noise. What white noise is it's that
The
fuzz
rain?
background noise on your TV, that shh, with the white dancing. It was recorded that there was voices or whatever, ghosts or demons or whatever in there. Here's the thing: demons need or require legal. Giving them legal entrance or legal entrance into a person's life. Okay. If you are saved through Jesus Christ, you cannot be possessed, but you can be oppressed.
Yes.
So you can invite them, unknowingly invite them in. Okay. They have to have legal rights to you. And those legal rights can be anything from watching porn, from watching scary movies, from and they could take anything as a legal right to come into your life. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2014, there was a news story from two young teenage girls up in, I think, Wisconsin, who had gone to the website of Slender Man.
Yep.
And after doing that, one stabbed the other one.
I do recall.
I did a really long write-up on exposing satanic world government at that time, explaining to people that the internet is an open portal.
Yep.
And every time you turn on your computer, you are giving legal rights to the demons that is using the electrical impulses and the electrical gateway and portal to come into your life. You truly are.
Well, there's so many different, and this is what's so crazy about our satanic society these days, because they have so many footholds into our society. They can get in through so many different things, through just looking on the internet. I mean, just going to a website that dabbles in magic, going to just go see a quote unquote healer, or go there's too many different things these days for different kinds of spirits to get in. And I feel like people misunderstand the actual objective of demons. Like what they're here to do. They're here, as you've said, because Christians cannot be possessed, only oppressed. The reason a demon is here, because there's so many, is to keep us away from salvation, is to keep us distracted on things such as pornography, such as drugs, such as alcohol, such as seances, channeling, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, here's the thing. Oppression oppression can push somebody in the wrong direction, which can lead to possession. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence as far as once saved, always saved, but I do know that, I was saved as a young child, fairly young. I was 8 years old, and I fell away from that salvation and ended up into the world of black magic, Satanism. I was into the Wicca. I was into the vampire. I was into all of that. Ended up into the drug. It was a drug addict. So I do believe that oppression, if not put in check, can possibly lead to possession. Because once you take your eyes off of your salvation, you can lose it. Not to say that you can't get it back, because I certainly have.
I agree.
And that's another thing is when a lot of people don't realize that when I go on to start researching, I go into some deep, dark holes.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I am completely, I pray before I get on my computer in the morning. I pray before, for the protection. I hold fast and I take possession of no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Because, God does give us certain protections. And, I am a watchman on the wall. So I do live Ezekiel 33:6. It is my job to blow the trumpet. And should I fail to do so, and one of his children are taken, the blood is on my hands. So I take that very, 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 very seriously. So I do delve into some very deep and dark holes. But I know that I am protected. And I know that that Satan has no power over my life. And if it feels like it's wrong, if I go to click on something and I know that I shouldn't be there, I will back out. I will not progress any further into that particular topic that I'm going into. So we have to know our limitations.
Yep.
And we have to understand the enemy. Knowing our enemy is how we're going to defeat it.
Amen. Amen. I couldn't have said it any better. I feel like, and that's one of the things that I'm definitely starting to learn with doing this myself. As I said on your own show, I've only been doing this about 9, 10, 11 months. I'm coming up on a year here soon. And prior to actually getting involved and getting engaged, I didn't judge myself. I didn't try to search for salvation. I didn't try to find glory in God. I just kind of, went about my life and knew, hey, I shouldn't do this, and hey, I shouldn't do that. But understanding the reasons, the metaphysical reasons, the spiritual reasons, the multidimensional, whatever you want to call it, understanding why we're not supposed to do these things makes it that much more important. It's like, I can't have someone on to go and talk about the roots of basketball, the roots of basketball, or the roots of sports, or other silly topics. It's like I'm listening to what has gotten me so far. It's either a spirit of conviction or a spirit of just of calling, of where every day I wake up thinking, this is what you have to do. You've got to get the word out this way. You've got to. And I don't know, I don't preach, I know I don't read the Bible as much as I should, but it's like every day doing this kind of work, it forces you to grow.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, on the Spitfire show the other night, or maybe it was just you and I, but I honestly don't understand how people can delve into the rabbit holes and not come out on the other side believing in Jesus Christ. I really don't. Yep. Because the more I dig, the closer I get. I ran across something a while ago, and I've been sitting here clicking, trying to find it, and I did. And it has something to do with the techno-sorcery we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a man named Earl Marlowe that back in the 1980s and 90s, they were working with technology, with magic and technology, okay? And they were trying to create a separate reality. But what it says is they were melding old sorcery techniques with the emerging technology that we were having at the time. What they did was, once they got, okay, here, I'm just going to quote that. I did pull it up. It says,
okay.
Today, in collaboration with my hoodoo brother, Professor Crow, I've created a cyber esoteric gateway, a dark rift from the very fires of damnation that runs off 7 laptops running Linux distros. Once the machines are humming with life and the gateway matrix emerges, we enter a deep mesmeric trance state using secret drum beats, and Professor and I developed from sampling the drummings of tribal shamans in Africa and South America. Within minutes, the Professor and I entered a cyber gateway into other dimensions and levels of reality and unreality, from where we commence our internal sorceries. The reason for setting up these various high-tech and low-tech systems is that in these modernist times, the so-called etheric plane, or for want of a better term, spiritual plane, has melded and merged with cyberspace. The two flow through each other and engage with one another. Strange entities are being unconsciously and consciously created by the human populace. New beings, often terrifying and totally amoral beings, are coming into existence. Once it was solely demons and gods. Now they have merged with cyber entities and intelligences, and are carouseling through the cyber esoteric plane, often flowing in and out of the internet and into your computers, game consoles, tablets, and smartphones.
I agree. And when was this written? Or how recent is this? Because
this was February 12th of 2013.
2013. I couldn't agree more. I'd say they're right on point. I mean,
and this is why we are seeing, I mean, everybody's got a smartphone. You don't walk down the street without seeing somebody's face plastered in a smartphone, and that is because they have so addicted to this technology. They need to keep that gateway, that portal, open at all times so they can come in and out.
Well, think about it. Our new gods are Wi-Fi and cellular data.
Right.
That's who we really praise. If we cannot get a Wi-Fi signal,
oh my God,
we cannot connect to our data hotspot. Yeah. Oh my God. That's it. The world is ending. We can't go days without our phone.
Jokingly, one day, I think it was last year, Facebook went down for like 45 minutes, an hour. Everybody was off the grid. I mean, it was terrible. I came back on and I said, you know, we're back on. This is great. While we were down, I had a conversation with Dave. He seems like a great guy. You know,
he seems all right. I'll keep him around.
Right. You know, I mean, I had a conversation with him. We talked for that 45 minutes. He seems like a pretty good guy.
You talked? You didn't text him?
We've done that too. We've sat in the same room and texted each other. How sad is that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You didn't Snapchat him or send him pictures or anything either?
You know, at dinner time, you will both sit down. I'll move my computer off to the side, and he'll have his phone, and I'll be just like, all of a sudden it'll hit me, you know, and I'll be like, really? What is so important on your phone that you can't have a conversation with me? So he'll put down his phone. I'll shut down my computer and we'll just sit there in silence.
Yeah, see, but you got to pull yourself away from the technology. You got to have like an actual human connection. I mean, like you can't have one without the other. You have to have interaction. It's like even whenever I'm meeting with like my fiance, you know, and because I'm always working on something. If it's not the podcast, it's a video. If it's not the video, it's a website, blah, 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 blah. You know, so I'm always working, and, you know, say she'll be cooking dinner and I'll be working on something at the table. And lo and behold, 2 hours pass, and I'm wondering like, hey, why is it dark outside? Maybe I should move some of this stuff off and get some food in me, you know? And she laughs because she understands, you know, he's just working. But at the same time, it's like I have to pry myself away. I have to have a conscious decision, say, hey, get up and get away from this. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no,
and
I know exactly what you're talking about. Thursdays, I will get up at 4 or 5, depending, like yesterday. Yesterday, I got up at 4 o'clock yesterday morning to get Dave off to work. You know, so from 4 o'clock to about 6, I had my computer on, of course. I was listening to a couple of YouTube videos that I needed to watch for some research. I had them on. I was in the kitchen. I was making his lunches, getting ready for him to go out. He's going to be on the road until Friday. So yeah, I have to make sure that everything's situated for him. His bags are packed. You know, he has his coffee, his water, his food. So after he left, I drove him to the truck yard. After he left about 9 o'clock, I came back. I did Mike's Aurora show. I did that at noon. Got off of there about 2 o'clock. Did some more research. Did a few things around. Before I realized it, Eric had sent me the link for last night's show. I went on that show. Halfway through the show, Damien sent me a link to go on his show. So I was like, okay, cool. So as soon as I got done with Spitfire, we did our after show. I went over to Damien's show. It was 2 o'clock this morning when I finally put all of my things down and I went, my God, I haven't even taken a shower today.
I have to admire your dedication, but I know what you're talking about.
You know, I mean, before I like this morning, I got up. I was up about 9:30. Decided to kind of sleep in because I was up late last night, so I slept at 9:30. I got up, made coffee. 10 o'clock, I was on Mike's show. Just got off before, you know, I came on here with you. But you said to me, like, well, it's going to be a few minutes. And I'm like, cool. So I made myself a sandwich, you know, and it's like, well, at least I'll eat today. I'm not sure about the shower because, you know, after I'm here, I'm going to be going on Spitfire tonight. So I may not get a shower in today, but it's cool because I don't have to put my camera on.
I'm glad that, you know, we're taking up your shower time.
You know, it's funny because we get so caught up. But again, this is all part of their plan. They need to keep us busy.
Exactly.
So we don't see what they're doing. If I'm walking down the street and I've got my face in my smartphone, I'm not seeing the chemtrails being sprayed above my head.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got you know, mainstream media on instead of anything, I'm being played the narrative. Mm-hmm. You know, today we reported on Democracy Springs, which is a protest happening right now in Washington, D.C. They're going to be there, I think, until either Saturday or Monday. The thing is, watching the narrative, and we had boots on the ground. One of our journalists, Cubby, was there today.
Nice.
He was there yesterday and today. He went there yesterday and he was given a pamphlet. In order to go to the protest or whatever, you had to go through this training course, and there's training for the next, you know, however many days it is. Also, move up or moveon.org. 99 something it's all George Soros
funded,
and the Koch brothers are funding all of this. You know, so again, we're being fed the narrative. Mainstream media
even whenever you look at that whole situation, you got to think, or maybe it's me, you know, I might be paranoid, but I'm thinking no one thinks that this could just be, you know, COINTEL. No one else could just think that this is just another setup, that this is just them pretty much getting, you know, provocateurs and then making everything seem legit. It just, with everything that's going on right now with the current political weather, I'm just, I'm really hesitant with everything.
No, you're not wrong at all. You know, it just seems funny. Last week we had the release of the Panama Papers, which is even now people, excuse me, have already forgotten about them.
Yep.
It's pretty important. The documents were just about as important as Snowden.
Well, that's why we have we have Dave Cameron talking about how he might be resigning. We have prime ministers all around the world that are stepping down. We have all kinds of different shockwave events, like banksters that are resigning as well, and they're saying that it was
Obama's behind in secret meetings right now with the financial, the Federal Reserve and stuff. So things are happening. This whole the whole narrative is being manipulated and put to whatever they want us to know about, and people are buying it hook, line, and sinker. It must be true because I saw it on mainstream media. I saw it. CNN said it, so it must be true.
Screw that.
Yeah.
No, and that's why I feel like we're having such a huge effect right now. That's why we're getting so attacked so frequently. That's why so many different things are happening, is because of the effect that media like this is actually doing. People want to know behind the news what's really going on, and people like you and Spitfire and Mike's Roar and everybody else that you guys have on your team, what you guys are doing, it's getting it out there. It's
right, and we are getting hit with some really vicious attacks right now, and we understand where it's coming from. We know that they're paid provocateurs, they're paid shills, they're paid trolls, and they're sock puppets, and we know their game. We know what they're trying to do. They're trying to dissuade people from coming to find out the truth. Which is kind of funny because they did a so-called exposing video on me last week. I'm very, even at the start of your show, I told you about myself. I'm very open when it comes to my life because it is who I am today. I'm not proud of some of the past that I've taken in my life, but I can't do anything about them. Okay, it was who I was, but it's not who I am.
I understand that.
So they put out a video last week that was supposedly exposing me, as being the Satanist and into vampirism. Well, you know what? You weren't telling anybody anything they didn't already know. And they decided to pull up some pictures off of my MySpace, which, by the way, I have not accessed since 2007. Okay. MySpace.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Ooh, they caught me. They caught the tater, So they doxed me. They put out my personal information from 4 years ago. Okay, they had my address as 437 North 18th Drive, Phoenix, Arizona. I moved out of there in, I think, March or April of 2012. Okay, so y'all are really good.
Gosh.
Yeah. And you know what? All they really did, and I thanked them for it. And within 30 minutes of me thanking them, they pulled the video because I realized it didn't bother me. And it didn't, because there was pictures on there of my infant daughter, my mother, and my dog that has since passed away. My mother has since passed away. And there was pictures on there that I thought that I had lost that they brought to my attention. So I immediately pulled the video off the internet and downloaded it onto my computer and sent it to my kids and said, here's a video of, some very good things from our past that, you guys, it was very nicely put together. And I went and I thanked them. I also got about 20 some new subs to my channel. So they're not really having the effect that they're trying to have on me by any stretch of the imagination. They're trying to say, yeah. I mean, they're making, like I said, make me famous, they're twisting it around, saying that, we're threatening people. And I am the most non-threatening person. That's not me. Let me just put it out there. If you come to my house, okay, it may end up not so good, but I'm not going out looking for anything. You come to me, that's a different story. Okay.
People these days are looking for fights.
Yeah, that's just, normal for anybody. I'm going to protect my home, and I'm going to protect my family and myself. I'm not going to go out there and look for people. You're not on my you're not on a hit list or anything. Frankly, I don't have time to troll these guys. It's just, people have brought it to my attention what they were saying about me and showing me videos and stuff. And it's like, I feel bad that they don't have anything
better to do
with their lives other than to stop them. But
and that's the sad part, is people literally make attacking people like me and you paid trolls. They make that their lifestyle. They want to actually come out here and spread disinformation, spread all kinds of hate, and just get in the way and cause problems, you know. And it's
But you know
sad
what?
when you think about
Here's
it.
the thing, Faction, is you've got to remember that first of all, these people they're paid. They're paid to do that. Second of all, a lot of them are mentally unstable.
Yep.
And also, they have been, in my opinion, taken over by the entities that are kind of leading them to have this hatred and animosity toward us. They are demon possessed, hiding behind a screen, hiding behind a keyboard. A lot of them, actually, I would say all of them, never use their real names. They use proxy names, which leads me to believe that, you know, they're not really real. They're just demonic entities taking human form.
And see, this is kind of where I want to jump back into the whole techno-sorcery and how technology is involved with a lot of this stuff, and why I feel like right now it's more important, because with artificial intelligence, quantum computing, deep learning, machine learning, and all these other different things that are coming out.
Cognitive learning machines.
Cognitive learning machines giving, you know, self-awareness to AI. What they can do is they can create phony Instagram accounts, phony Twitter accounts, phony Facebook accounts, and they can essentially give consciousness to these trolls that are running code that only know to do just that.
Absolutely, I mean, you are exactly right.
And whenever you do that, what you're essentially doing is creating a subculture where this executable program designed by somebody else, this orchestrated consciousness, is being propagated. And so then whenever you see other people picking up on it, thinking, hey, isn't this what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to be negative. We're supposed to be degenerative. We're supposed to deny all this stuff right here. It creates this weird psychosis to where we have to deal with trolls who don't even understand what they're doing.
Who aren't even real. I mean,
exactly.
What is that new it's a new game that it's on the internet now, and it runs Scott was talking about it. It goes on where say you're moving in the world, in the game world, and it's creating, as you're moving, it's creating the background, it's creating the
virtual reality.
The virtual reality, yeah, exactly. And you know, he said that, you know, millions of people could be playing this game and you'll never run into the same person twice. It's how big this reality is. It makes World of Warcraft look like it's back, you know, asteroids, you know.
God.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're dealing with, and people need to be made aware of this. We are not dealing with today's technology today.
Nope.
What we are given today, the elite and the governments of the world are about at least 75 to 100 years in advance. And that's just a conservative number. It could be as much as 200 to 500 years in advance to what we have today. They are utilizing fallen angel technology on us today. So this smartphone that I have in my hand is nothing compared to the smartphone that they have the ability to use and utilize.
Yep.
Same thing with the internet. Whenever they give us, you know, a new upgrade or something, again, 50, 75, 100 years more advanced than what we can even imagine. So the AIs that we're seeing right now, the machines and the robots that we're seeing presented to us right now are nothing compared to what they have.
I agree. I definitely agree. And you can see it because of how fast everything is rolling out. And I don't know if it's this year in particular, you know, maybe it's because I'm actually like looking for it, but it seems like every other day they're advancing some kind of new technology. Yeah, either synthetic immortality, drones that are going to start taking care of grocery shopping for us, or contact lenses with
Oh yeah.
augmented lenses and these types of things. The technology, as you said, it is a fallen angel origin. It is from, well, antediluvian times, would you say, or pre-Noah times?
Pre-Noah times, I would say. Yeah. Because, this technology that we're seeing now, the transhumanism, the melding of the iron and the clay, we were told about it in the book of Daniel. And as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the time of the second coming. So we are definitely going back into that same time period. A lot of books have been removed from the Bible that explain all of this. And they've been removed for that very reason, that they explain all this. There were in that time, everything that we were taught as children in school, as far as the mythology, the Greek and Roman mythological creatures, the half human, half animal creatures. Those were not myths. Those were real.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA mixing that they did back then started with the fallen angels taking wives of the humans and creating the Nephilim. So, I mean, this all started way back before the time of Noah, and it is now materializing again, which, like I said, we were told in the book of Daniel that there would be in the final era the melding of the iron and the clay. And I do believe the iron being the technology and the clay being the flesh.
I agree. I agree, because I mean, you can see it, and that's why the Smithsonian, that's why other archaeological institutions try to deny the existence of giants, because it leads credence to the Bible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And they don't want that, because then
Right.
that's where the answers are. And as you
Right.
said before at the start of this, whenever you start doing all your deep research, it always leads back to Jesus Christ, to God, to the Bible.
Right.
And people, and they don't want that.
People can say that I don't believe in the Bible. The Bible's a fairy tale. It's not true, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. The Bible is the only book that is banned in how many countries of this world? If that was the truth, and it wasn't factual, and it wasn't the truth, then why is it such a feared? Why is it such a feared text?
Mm-hmm.
The Bible is the only book that we're being able to find ruins to support the stories that are in it. It's the Bible truly is the inspired word of God, and you need to look for it. You can deny it all you want, but the Satanists and the elite seem to believe in it so much they're using it as their end times playbook.
Yep. And that's what blows my mind so much about all this. As I said before, like I didn't really take it all so serious, but once it got to the point to where the evidence, literally, you can't deny the evidence. Once it gets to that point, you have to understand your role in all this stuff. Are you going to play for the bad side, or are you going to play for the good side? You know how this all ends. Don't get caught up in the world. And I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Right. We're told in the Bible, we're told, be in this world, not of this world.
Exactly.
And so many of us are of this world. We are of the technology. We are of the drama. We are of the subcultures that makes up this world.
One of the things I feel like to kind of explain where we're at, to segue into to back into Techno-Sorcery, because of how we're looking at human life right now, instead of actually appreciating it, seeing the diverse ways that humans are, the way that we're able to all live together, instead of tearing it down because of racism, classism, and tribalism, all this stupid stuff, we're losing the idea of what it means to be human. And so whenever we have these technocrats coming in doing this occult black magic, like Jack Parsons, ripping a hole in space-time before NASA, or during the establishment of NASA, where what we're seeing is them create an artificial idea of what humans are, while simultaneously trying to rip open the gates of hell, or Yeah, just that. The gates of hell ripping open other portals and dimensions to pull in these spirits.
Right. Before we get into that, because I definitely want to go down that rabbit hole with you for a second, but I just want to read to you at the end of the article that I quoted before. It says, to me, or wait a minute, let's see. It's the next stage of evolution, the merging of man and machine, God in cyberspace. But it can be dangerous. Those that will thrive in this multidimensional reality will believe in nothing. They will use their belief as an engine to get things done. Once that belief has served its purpose, it will be discarded mercilessly and another belief adopted that as necessary. The bottom, excuse me, the bottom line is there is no longer any rules. As my maxim goes, no gods, no masters, no rules.
Isn't that what people use for the slogans of anarchy? And I'm pretty sure that's what Aleister Crowley said as well. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Yes, exactly. So once you realize, you know, what their goal is as far as with the technology, the techno-sorcery, you know, it is their belief that there is no God per se. That the self is the God, the inner self is God. They can go to another stage of enlightenment, you know, evolutionary. So yeah, and they are achieving this. They are achieving this through the technology that we're being shown every single day. And you said about, you know, the breaking open of the dimensions. We see this with what they're trying to do with CERN.
Yep. And that right there, before I jump into CERN, on the fact that they're using this technology to make us morally ambiguous, spiritually immoral, and just essentially godless. That's the only way I can really describe it. And the reason why I can only attribute it to being godless is because if we have no moral indication of where we're going, we have men who have people who are born men and choose to become female because they can. That's literally changing and allowing the change of reality. And that's why we see so much perversion, so much wickedness, so much just lackadaisical attitudes towards everything, because nothing matters. And that's the point of this, is they're trying to make everything have no meaning.
Right.
Nothing's supposed to have a meaning. And so then whenever, and I'll springboard into CERN with this, whenever they're coming through with this new society that they're trying to build on the heels of our discontent, they can say, oh, well, this has meaning. This isn't of Earth. This is from a new dimension. This is alien. Right. Don't you want to embrace that?
Right. And here's the thing is they have renounced Jesus Christ. They have definitely disassociated Jesus Christ with any salvation. We know as Christians that the only way to salvation, the only way to eternal life is through Jesus Christ. But once you take Jesus Christ out of the equation, you can replace that with technology.
Yep.
Satan counterfeits everything of God's, including creation. But he can't create, okay? It's like the Masons with their great architect. An architect does not create the materials. It just uses the materials that are already provided.
Exactly.
And that is what Satan does. He's using the materials already provided by God because he cannot create life, but he can change and he can alter it once it's created. So what they're doing essentially is, instead of getting our eternal life through Jesus Christ, they're getting their eternal life through technology.
Through transhumanism.
Into transhumanism, exactly.
Through alchemy.
Through alchemy, through through the ancient sciences.
Through Babylonian magic.
The Babylonian magic, the techno-sorcery.
And that's how we come full circle, is because, like we were saying before, with the giants, the reason why they're taking these pre-flood and post-flood creatures away is because not only can they analyze these people's genetic structures now, they have the technology, they can also regrow them. They can they can replicate anything that made, yes, muscle, anything that made the giant, and then they can endow other people onto that with super soldiers, with
Right.
with artificial creatures, with genetically modified humans, human animal chimeras.
Again, they cannot create life, but they can alter and manipulate it.
Exactly. And I feel like whenever, and this might be one of my far-fetched theories, but whenever we're looking at these hybrids and these creatures that are being grown, they we we were born in the image of God. Therefore, we are given souls.
I was
When you,
just going to actually go down this with you.
well, then you know what I'm trying to say. We were given
Well, yeah,
souls.
you
You can't
have to
create
ask
that.
yourself. You have to ask yourself, and I've actually put forth this question to several people, and I have yet to be able to get an answer. But like I said, Satan cannot create life, okay? But people are going to say, no, that's not, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We can create life in a petri dish.
No.
But the question is, if you're cloning another person, or if you're cloning another animal, or if you're cloning whatever, does that, because essentially it's a golem. A golem is an empty, soulless vessel.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
now you have this golem, which is this vessel. That entity does not have a soul, because the spark of life did not come from God.
Nope.
And once you have that soulless being, it can be manipulated and possessed, because the
Yep.
only thing that keeps us from being completely and totally possessed is not only our salvation through Jesus Christ, but it's our soul. It fights against that possession. If you don't have that fight, you're easily taken over, and you become a demonic creature.
Well, one of my thoughts on that is with CERN and all of the tearing of dimensions, the allowing of extra dimensional consciousness or interdimensional consciousness with these creatures that are being grown. As you said, they don't have spirits, they don't have souls, they don't have God-given souls. What if CERN is opening the hole or different dimensions, and while we're sitting here growing these creatures, we're essentially giving these extra dimensional consciousnesses, these spirits, bodies, and then they'll
Bingo.
be described as aliens.
Bingo.
And
Here's the thing. What happened is during the flood, when God sent the great flood, these creatures and these entities were killed. Their spirits are now known as disembodied spirits. These disembodied spirits, once they are unleashed, whether it be, however, CERN bringing these bodies back or bringing these demons back, they are going to be scampering to try to find new bodies. So here's the thing: this is just my thoughts on this. I cannot support it. I cannot disregard it either. Disembodied demons can take the form of any living creature. It can take the form of a human, alive. It can reanimate a dead body. It can possess our animals. I believe it can even possess plants. If you look at all of the Hollywood depictions of zombies,
Yep.
and you can look at that alongside of a demonically possessed individual, we're talking about the same thing.
Yep.
All of the demons depicted, let's use World War Z for a good example. The zombies in that movie had no regard for the human the human, what do I say,
The likeness of God.
the constraints of being human. Their necks would be broken and they'd get up and they move again. Their arms would be broken, they get up and they move again. Their spines would be broken and they get up and they move again. That is not caused from a virus. That is caused from demonic possession. And that is exactly what we're going to see when they open up those dimensions.
I agree. Well, Russ Dizdar talks about this, the Black Awakening.
The Black Awakening.
Yeah, the Black Awakening, and how it's just that, how all kinds of people are going to be triggered throughout the world, and they're just going to start causing all kinds of chaos. They're going to start they're trying to unleash hell. And so then whenever we have temples of Baal being erected, even though they said they're going to stop the construction of it, probably because of the public outcry, they'll still create something similar to it.
Yes.
I mean, we still have the Baphomet temple up, or the statue of Baphomet.
Right.
So whenever we have all these thousands and millions of spirits inhabiting the bodies of the dead, because I'm pretty sure there was even a I forget the verse for it in the Bible, but it says they will seek death and they will not be able to find it. Whenever we have
that, to me right there is the demonic possession. That to me is
Yep.
The demons have taken over that body and you cannot die.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, this is just my thoughts on it. I cannot confirm it. I cannot just prove it. This is just something that has come to my mind through researching, looking at the Bible, looking at what CERN is doing. Now, I do want to let people know that CERN is also looking into, we know that they were looking for the God particle.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it the graviton, they said?
Well, here's the thing. I do not believe the God particle was a particle at all. I believe it was a frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Genesis, the Bible, God spoke things into existence. He didn't wave his little magic wand. He didn't wave his arm and things appear. He spoke it into existence. So it's a frequency. So when they're looking for that God particle, it's not a particle at all. They're looking for the frequency that God used to create.
Yes. I agree.
So and here's another thing is the body is made up of what, 90 some, our brains are 90 some percent water. Our bodies are in 80% water.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to put a glass of water next to your speakers and turn on music really loud, you can see that vibration. That is what they are doing to our bodies through the vibrations, through the frequencies, through the TV, through the Gwen towers, through the through the Wi-Fi's, through our cell phones.
Yeah, exactly.
They are changing and altering the frequency at which our bodies vibrate.
Our DNA antenna.
Our DNA antenna.
It's like we're like 60 or 80% water, and being that we're a bioelectric construct, and then we're transmitting our signal electrically, and through different frequencies. Whenever we start drinking all these sodas, drinking all this beer, doing all these different drugs, doing all these different things, what we're doing is distorting the signal, and that's what we're doing on our own game. If we include, as I've said before, as you've said before, as we've said before, the Gwen towers, the ELF towers, and all these other things that are emitting signals, again, we have another thing that is disrupting our DNA antenna.
Right.
So whenever we have all of these different things that are messing with our connection to the actual universe, and that's what I feel like people can't even understand that. Even whenever you look at it as a scientific model, the fact that we're just one frequency amongst many, well, who's at the top? Who are we transmitting to? And that's how prayer works and all kinds of other stuff. Is we're not looking at things in the sense of electricity and energy. We're looking at things as how you can hold on to it.
Right. And we know that Lucifer was a musical angel.
Yes.
He was very musical, and the frequency of music was changed from what was it?
Frequency change.
I did this wrong. It was changed from 440 to 432. Or 432 to 440, one of the two. Hold on a second. It was changed from 440 to 432. And the reason for this change in pitch was so they could initiate and utilize a different frequency to promote the changes of us on a cellular and a DNA molecular level. And as Russ Stiegler always is saying about with the rise of the super soldier, this is their plan all along, to create human beings with different DNA. And if you read the Bible, we are told that there would be a different DNA strand. They're trying to do a 3-strand DNA instead of a 2-strand DNA. They're trying to introduce this. So, you know, this is all coming to fruition very, very quickly. I mean, and all of the things that they're trying to do to distract us from all of this are working for most people.
Well, that's what blows my mind is like we're able to give what 6 to 8 hours to distractions that don't do anything. But it's more than it's harder than ever to try to donate an hour to the truth, donate 2 hours to learning, to getting closer to God, to understanding the Bible, to just caring. It's becoming harder to care and having things to care about, and it's becoming, you know.
We are becoming true machines.
Yep.
Here, let me ask you, it's a personal question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but it's just kind of to put it out there to everybody who's listening. What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
First thing I do when I get up in the morning?
Yeah.
Kiss my girlfriend.
Besides that?
Let the dogs out.
Okay.
Do
you check your phone?
Yeah, after a while, but I don't check it in the morning because I hate how it makes my eyes feel.
Okay. I mean, I can truthfully say that the first thing I do is reach over at the nightstand, grab my phone, and check it.
Yep.
I'm going to put that out there that I'm very ashamed of myself, but I do not fall on my knees and I do not pray first. I check my phone first.
I agree. I understand what you're talking about. I mean, I definitely don't do that. I don't find the time to give glory to God when I wake up in the morning saying, you know, hey, thank you for giving me life.
Because we have distractions, because we have the distractions, and, it's sad because time is definitely running out. Time is getting short here. Things are speeding up. I'm not saying I'm not going to be one to date set. Because that's just stupid, because nobody knows the day or the hour, but we do know the season. Okay. So when people say that, oh, nobody knows the day or the hour, you're right. You're absolutely right. We do not know the day. We do not know the hour, but we do know the season. And I'm going to tell y'all, the season is almost upon us.
If you haven't noticed by now.
All right. If you haven't noticed by now, get your head out of your smartphone, shut down your computer, and take a look at the world around you. We are truly in or entering into the days of Noah.
I couldn't agree more. But Ash, I feel like we covered a whole lot in just this one episode.
I so enjoy talking to you. You are, I could go on for hours and hours and hours talking about things. This is what I do every day. I so enjoy talking about this stuff because it needs to be put out there.
It's what needs to be talked about. It's important. This is life.
It is, and we could probably get, 5 or 6 different shows on just what we touched about today. We could go off on a CERN show. We could go off on the megahertz or the changing of the frequencies. We could go off on the, just the Gwen towers and stuff like that. I mean, it's, we just, unfortunately, just touched the surface. But I'm just going to put a message out there to everybody listening. Please do not believe anything that I say. Do your own due diligence. Do take the time.
Yeah.
If something sparked you that was said today, I urge you to please research it. If you have any questions whatsoever, I can be reached through my email. I can give it to you. It's eswgnn@gmail.com. Email me with questions. I am always available. As busy as I am, I do find time to answer my messages. You know, so if there's something that you don't understand, if you want some more information, you know, please feel free. Come over to my channel. You know, message me through YouTube. Shoot me an email. I'm always willing to answer your questions.
Right on. Are there any other projects that you're working on other than the daily shows?
Well, we're trying to get the network up and running. We're trying to put the network together. What we'll be doing is putting one network where you can find all of our shows. You've got ESWG News Network up on right now. I'm trying to dismantle that and I'm trying to move everybody over to the Underground Resistance Network. That right now is my baby. That is what I'm doing right now. That is where all my live shows are now on. But we're trying to get the network up and going. We're trying to do a one-click, one shot where you can find all of our shows on one channel, one chat room, and 24/7 shows.
Yep.
There would be Spitfire in the Sentinel, Soror Strikes Back, 3 Minutes to Midnight, Maynard After Midnight. I'm trying to get you into the network too. If we can ever get our heads out of our butts and get everything together, you're going to be able, hopefully, someday to find factions there. You know, we are so strong as one entity than we are individually, in my opinion.
I agree.
You know, and we all have the same goals. You know, we don't all have to have the same opinions on things to get along, but we all have to have that same goal.
And that willingness to do the right thing, that willingness to do the work.
Right. Right. Matt T is no longer in production, unfortunately, but they do have some really good shows. You know, unfortunately, the team kind of broke up. They have their family issues, and we understand that. But they have some really good videos and a real good bunch of women. I just love them to death, and they're still part of they're still part of our team, only kind of behind the scenes now.
With all this, I understand how it goes. Trying to find the time is definitely difficult.
Yeah, yeah, and a couple of the women have small children, so we completely and totally understand that. We completely do. Yeah, there's Spitfire and the Sentinels. We are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a live chat, live call, and I do have to change that phone number. That's not our number anymore. But you can find us there. You know, tomorrow, Thursday, the 14th at 10 p.m., we are going to be interviewing Fritz Springmeier.
Oh, what? Really?
Yes, yes. Fritz is actually a friend of mine. You know, I brought Nicholson 1968 on a couple of weeks ago, and I figured out how, you know, I tried to get Fritz. I sent him a message. He was like, absolutely. He goes, I do go to college. He goes, I can only do Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I booked him for tomorrow. We're also in the process of getting Anthony Patch.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait for that episode.
Anthony Patch. What's his name? Ralph Epperson. I don't know if you know who Ralph Epperson is. He wrote in 1990 the original The New World Order book.
I do not. I'll go look him up.
Yeah, we're trying to get him on there. I've also trying to get Howard Nema will be coming on with us. Also, I have a couple more surprise guests that I'm trying to get on. But yeah, tomorrow will be Fritz Springmeier.
So you're still going to be busy.
Yeah.
Oh, the ever busy Lori.
The ever busy me. It's okay though. It's not like I'm not doing anything productive, because I think I'm doing what I love to do, Well, like I said, in February 2014, I started up Exposing Satanic World Government. And it was my baby for a while, but I just felt like there was something more, that God had some different plans for me. And I kept asking or telling him, you know, whatever is your will, I'm open to anything, you know.
Yeah.
And December of last year, I was approached by Eric Spitfire and asked, I went on, actually Robbie D introduced me to the guys. I went on one show, and afterwards he says, you know, if you're in, you know, I would be more than happy to have you. And I was like, yeah. And you know, recently it's been just Spitfire and I on a couple of shows, and we meld pretty good together. So I think I found my home with Spitfire and the Sentinel. I love Jeff Hayes. He wrote the book, the New World Order, the calling of the rise of the New World Order, the calling of man. Awesome book.
I was supposed to send him my my email and my address so he could send one my way.
Yes, get your address to him. You can go on to the SamaritanSentinel.com. It's called the SamaritanSentinel.com, where you can download the PDF for free of his book. He also has another one in the works also, which goes very deep into the rabbit hole.
Ah, dang. So it sounds like I've got some work to get caught up on, because you guys are definitely busy.
Yeah.
Definitely working.
Right. So yeah, there's the Rise of the New World Order, the Calling of Man, and then the Rise of the New World Order, the Awakening, both by Jeff Hayes. Jeff happens to be our co-host on the Spitfire and the Sentinels. He's the original Sentinel. You know, so he's one of our co-hosts. You know, Mike Soror Strikes Back is another one of our co-hosts, and myself. So, and then we have our guest co-hosts that come on. You, Robbie, you know, Roberto's been coming on. I love
Roberto.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna have to get Mr. Hayes on too to talk about his book. I would love to hear what he has to say.
Oh, he would absolutely love to. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Well, hi, dang. Thank you, Lori. I want to thank you for coming on. It's always been a pleasure working with you.
Ditto, my friend.
I guess
gonna have to get in touch with you. When you were on a guest on my show, everybody loved you, and when you were on with us last week, you do. Everybody loves you. They really do. So I'm gonna have to get you back on the show by popular demand. You're gonna have to come back.
Well, I think I held up my end.
You did.
I definitely had you on finally again. Well, thank you really for coming on, Lori. It's always great talking to you.
Thank you, honey. God bless.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.